rabbi. What do you think of the topic of interfaith marriages and relationships?
Well, when we talk about marriage, a lot of what we do in ceremonies is constructed. So there are really two different questions. Is should you marry someone outside your culture, outside your religion? And then would it be sanctioned by different denominations or different religions? And historically, tribes didn't like the idea of marrying people from another tribe unless it was to have an agreement or to settle peace or for trade. But we've become much more global now, and the differences between someone from the Commonwealth of Virginia or the Commonwealth of Massachusetts isn't the same difference as it used to be, and someone coming from different countries. So because of changes in society, it's very difficult to argue you shouldn't marry someone from Ireland or you shouldn't marry someone from Australia. But it's very difficult to make that argument. In the same way, it's very difficult to argue that a Jew shouldn't marry a Roman Catholic or a Presbyterian shouldn't marry an Episcopalian. Again, if we look back at history, there was a time when we as a people identified by religion, by nationality, by tribe, by country. That's not true anymore, particularly here in the United States. We're all here together. We all came from various countries. We established ourselves here in America. And when you find someone that you identify with, you find someone that you would like as your partner, there's no reason not to date, and then there's no reason not to marry.
So you think love trumps culture?
Yes. Not just love, but finding another person with whom you're compatible. I think that makes the difference. Religion is truly man-made. Human beings had different visions of how to attain the divine. And then they set up rules and said, well, you have to do this, you can't do that, you have to do that. All religions are establishing a relationship with the one. And so to say that mine is better than yours or that I'm correct and you're wrong is just silly. It just doesn't make any sense, because the reality is there is many ways to understand God as there are leaves on the trees.
On the other hand, you just still have to tell your parents.
And every generation has to deal with the previous generation that had certain ideas about how society should be. And that makes sense because I remember when I grew up, and this is how I view. But that was 50, 60 years ago. And enough things have changed, so it's time for us to rethink how we have marriage, how we pick partners. Look, for my parents, you got a job and you stayed with the company till you died. With my generation, you picked an occupation and you stayed with it. Now, with the newer generation, you'll switch careers, you'll switch jobs, you'll move around. And it's not that what we used to do is wrong and what we do is right. It's not about right or wrong. Rather, this is how society is structured now.
So what would you say to a young couple who's facing that difference in background, and they go to their parents and they say, we found one another, we love one another, and the parents say, this will never work?
That may have been true in the 40s and the 30s and in a previous century. Here in DC, it's very rare that you come across someone whose cultures are so different that you can actually say this won't work. Because we have an amalgam here in DC, and people have similar jobs, occupations, views of the universe. And the parochial view that it won't work because you have a different religion or you're a different culture isn't supported in the way we live here. We go to restaurants, we have a variety of places. Things aren't as segmented. Remember, in Europe, you had to identify with your religion in order to pay taxes, in order to be a citizen, everything depended upon being a Catholic, being a Protestant, being French, being English. But being Americans, that distinction just doesn't work, and it's just not there anymore.
So, Mom and Dad, suck it up. Thank you, Rabbi. Well, thanks for the words of wisdom, Rabbi.
You're very welcome.